Sam from Road Trail Run here. I want to give you my review after 70 miles, including a 20-mile road race as well as the Boston Marathon, of the Hoka One One Carbon X, an ultra-marathoning and marathoning maximally cushioned shoe that announces today, May 1st, and will be available at the Hoka website May 15th and other select retailers June 1st. It's a $180 shoe, and you'll be able to get it in a blue and white with a hint of yellow at launch, and then in April, and then in July and August in other colors to be announced. So what did Hoka set out to do here with this incredible shoe? Maximally cushioned. My pair comes in at 8.9 ounces, 252 grams. Production should be coming in at about 8.5 ounces, 241 grams. So it has a 32 millimeter heel stack, 27 millimeter forefoot. The midsole is essentially made up of 3 layers. The top layer is a very lightweight compression molded EVA. It's Hoka's most responsive and supportive, more so and less mushy than, for example, the EVA in the Clifton, and I found that to be the case. It has a higher specific gravity, so it does weigh a bit more than some other foams, but it'll hold its shape and will not feel overly soft and mushy. So we have that layer. The next layer at this line here is a full-length carbon plate, and you can see it through the outsole here. It curves up at the lateral ending here to prevent resupination. I found that the plate gives the shoe, which is soft, quite a bit of pop, but also a lot of stability. This is a very stable shoe given its wide platform and the plate, despite the softer EVA. Below that, we have between 15 and 10 millimeters of rubberized foam, which is the entire outsole. I found that this outsole has tremendous durability so far. Very little beyond just a bit of scuffing, and I tend to scuff right there a lot in 70 miles of hard running. Remarkable stuff. I suspect that as the shoe wears down a bit and packs down, it'll get a bit firmer as a result, and probably even snappier. Moving over to the upper, it's a single layer of engineered mesh. It's very thin and pliable. Toe box holds fine. I was sized up half a size. This was a bit roomy at the midfoot, but the toe was fine. I think most people should be able to go true to size. Very narrow feet might even, low volume feet might even size down half a size here. I had to play with thicker socks to get a good fit, because it is really quite a voluminous upper. It holds the foot surprisingly well. The tongue is lightly padded and has a small stretch booty. I found no lace bite in any of my races, even as I had to tighten it down a bit. At the heel, there's support and reinforcement, which is actually stitched in, as in the Clifton 6, which is we have a review of on our site now. There is a stiff lower heel counter, narrow. You can see it's just almost a strip, and then softer above. Very effective working with the active foot frame. You can see how wide and stable they are, and indeed they are. On the run, the one thing I noticed is that the heel felt at 5 millimeters, maybe a bit low. Maybe it's the softness, and maybe the outrigger here, or the bevel, because you can see I haven't even worn it. Maybe there's a bit too much weight at the rear for really fast running and getting off the heel to the midfoot. I am a heel striker, so midfoot runners, and as the pace picks up, may find it different. In terms of the ride up front, it's soft, very stable, super protective. I found best paces for this shoe were marathon paces for me. As I got down towards half marathon pace, it lacked a little bit of firm response from the foam itself, not the outsole necessarily, or the carbon plate, which provides a lot of snap. You know, if I was to suggest, I would add a bit more heel stack, potentially move the plate up a little bit, and lower the forefoot. But it's a tremendous training ride. It's probably one of the most exciting, or is the most exciting, training shoe that I've run in several years, for its softness, yet great bounce and decent response for the huge stack. And the fact that the carbon plate is totally stiff really doesn't enter into the picture, because as your feet sink down in the front into the softer foam in the front, you effectively end up not above the plate, and you can easily toe off at more moderate paces. Inevitably, people are going to ask, well, what about, how do you compare it to the Vaporfly? Well, let's start with the heel. For sure, the Carbon X is much more stable. The Vaporfly, for me, on steep downhills and uneven pavement, suffers from quite a bit of instability. You really got to be up front and off the heels. Looking more closely at the different implementations of carbon plate, in the Vaporfly, it's closer to the heel, and then further all the way down, it comes down just above the outsole. So the heel is firmer in the Vaporfly, and somewhat firmer in the forefoot, although there's plenty of Zoom X. Overall, though, the Carbon X has a softer forefoot, more forgiving forefoot than the Vaporfly. Their uppers are fairly similar. The Vaporfly original, and I won't even compare to the Flyknit, which is kind of a snugger, stretchier upper, is heavier, less pliable. Support is close to equivalent. A little bit better support at the rear of the shoe for the Vaporfly than the Carbon X. And the same applies to midfoot, although I much prefer the toe box here, the pliable toe box, to the Vaporflies, which is a little bit stiffer and firmer. So stay tuned, because we're going to have a multi-tester review of the incredible Carbon X coming up. All kinds of different runners of different paces, from marathoners in the low 240s all the way up into the 4s, different weights, sizes, so it's going to be real interesting. You can also read our full written review at RoadTrailRun.com. The link is below, and please stay tuned. Thank you very much for watching.